In this video, we're going to go through on Tong School 2024 end of year exam, Primary 5 Mathematics Paper 1, Part or Booklet B. Alright, so if you want to go to see Booklet A, you probably can search it up in my channel. Alright, let's move on to question 16. So, question 16 says there were 700 people in the concert hall. 25% of the people left the concert hall during the interval. How many people left the concert hall? All right, so in this case, basically what we need to do is to have 25 out of 100. All right, and then or 25% is basically 25 out of 100. So in essence, it will be 700 times 25%, and this will equal to 700 times 25 out of 100. Okay, and then we can just cancel these two zeros. That's what you see over here, like this, right? And then this will become 7 times 25. So what is 7 times 25? Let's do the working. So 25 times 7. Okay, so let's add the line over here. So first numbers, 5 times 7, what would this become? 35. Okay, so we're gonna put the 3 at the top over here. Okay, so 2 times 7 is 14 plus 5. This will be 175. So the answer to this question is equal to 175 people who left the um, concert in this case over here. All right, let's move on to question number 17. Okay, question number 17 says find the value of 36.2 divided by 9. Express answer as a decimal. Okay, so for this, okay, what we can do, I'm just going to write here 376.2, right? And then we divide it by 90. Wait, by my 90. So this will actually be the same as divided by 9 and also divided by 10 in essence, something like this. Okay, so what we can do is we can just divide this by 9 first, right? 376. Okay, so 376.2 divided by 9. Okay, so with this, right, then you have 9 over here. Okay, so with this, what we can do is we can we will see first two numbers, cos 3 cannot be minus 9, so 37, so we can minus 36. Okay, so in this case 37 minus 36, so 9 times 4 will be uh 36. So in this case 37 minus 36, this will give us 1. We bring down 6. Okay, and then we can minus, so what's closest to 16? It should be 1, right? Cos minus 9, 1 times 9 is 9. Okay, so minus 9, and what will this give us? This will give us 7, right? So 7, we can't really do anything with 7 because 7 is less than 9. We bring down the 2, like this, 7.2. So that means this is a decimal number already. So then we minus 72 as well, or 7.2. 7.2, and this will give us 0. Okay, pretty straightforward in this case over here. All right, so 7.2 is actually 8, right? In this case, right? So what would this give us? This will give us 41.8, but we also divide it by 10 in this case, and this will just give us 4.18, and that's it. So the answer to this question is 4.18. All right, let's move on to question 18. Right, find the value of 16 plus 32 divided by brackets 2 times 4. So this is what we call order of operations. Okay, so basically what we want to do is number one, first or first is we uh, do the brackets. Then after that Second, do the times or divide. Okay. And then third, do the plus or minus. Okay, in this case over here. Right, so this is the order of operations from left to right lah. Okay, so in this case over here, I'm gonna put it here, right, as a rectangle. Okay, so for this, what I want to do is we will have to do the brackets first. Okay, 2 times 4. So in this case, this will equal to 16 plus 32, and then divide by 2 times 4, which is 8. Okay, once we have the brackets, the next thing is we will do times or the divide. So we have the divide over here, 32 divided by 8, so 16 plus, so 32 divided by 8 is 4. And then lastly, this will give us 20. So the answer to this question is 20. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 9. So the usual price of the vacuum cleaner was $3,100. During a sale, it was sold at discount of 20%. What was the price of the vacuum cleaner during the sale? So we know that the discount percent is equal to 20%. Okay, so then there will be sale price discount. So there's many ways you can do it. You can calculate the discount, or you can get the amount that you need to pay. So you just 100 minus 20, this will give you 80%. All right, now you know what's the sale price discount. Let's do the sale price. In this case, which will be equal to 3,100 times 80%. Okay, and 80% is basically we just convert this to 80 out of 100. So 80 out of 100. Okay, so in this case, 3,100 times 80 out of 100. So we can cancel the double zeros or the 100 itself, and then we can cancel the zeros over here as well. And what will this give us? This will give us 31 times 80, right? Which is also the same as 31 times 8 times 10. Okay, and what will this give us? Okay, so I'm just going to do the workings for 31 times 8 over here. Okay, and then I'm going to put the line. So 1 times 8 in this case is 8, and then 3 times 8 is 24. So 248. So that's the answer lah to this, right? Okay, pretty straightforward. So the answer to this will be 248. And then times, don't forget the 10. So the sale price will be $2,480. Right? So that is the sale price. So that's the answer. 2480 in this case over here. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 20. 9 boys shared 6 pizzas equally. What fraction of a pizza did each boy get? Okay, so 6 pizzas to 9 boys. Okay, so in this case, if I were to write here, 6 pizzas given to 9 boys. So basically, this is equal to, so for example, or 9 boys. Okay lah, let's make it simple. Okay, 9 boys have 6 pizza. So one boy is equal to 6, and then we divide it by 9. Okay, and we want to express it as a fraction, right? So then what we want to do is we'll just put this here so it's easier for me. Okay, so 6 divided by 9. Okay, 6, 9, right? Then we can simplify 6 and 9, right? In this case over here. So what do you think we can divide this with? Okay, so this can be divided by 6 and 9 can be divided by 3, right? In this case over here, right? So make a bit smaller, divide by 3, divide by 3, and this will give us 6 divided by 3 is equal to how much? How much do you think? Right? It will give us 6 divided by 3 is 2, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the answer to this is 2 out of 3. That's it. Okay. So That's the answer for question number 20. Let's move on to question 21. Okay, so this can be a little bit more tougher, but don't worry, let's go through. The figure is made out of two squares. The perimeter of the smaller square is 20 centimeters. Okay, smaller square is 20 centimeters. The area of the shaded part is 39 centimeters square. Find the length of the bigger square itself. Okay, let's do step by step. So we know that the perimeter of square is equal to 4 times sides. Okay, sides. So 4 times sides. So that means 20 centimeter. The perimeter of the square is 20 centimeters times 4 times sides. So one side, so essentially 4 sides, right? 4 sides. Okay, so that means one side is equal to 20, then divide by 4. Okay, and this will give us 5. So now we know that this individual side is 5 centimeters. Okay, oopsie poop. All right, 5 centimeters over here. Okay, let me just touch the edges. That's why it's over here. So perimeter of, yeah, any square of this 20 centimeters. Okay, so now we know that the area of the shaded part is 39 centimeters square. Okay, so shaded part is equal to big square area, shaded part area, big square area minus small square area. Okay, so that means we need to get the big square. We know the big square area in this case is the 39 centimeter square. So the big square area is 39 centimeter square. Okay, then how about the small square area? Is equal to uh, in this case we know that one side is 5, so we have 5 times 5 is equal to 25 centimeters square. That's what you see over here, right? Oops, 25 centimeter square. Okay. Okay, so big square area is not 39 centimeter, that's the shaded part. Okay, so we know, so my bad, so this should be the shaded part. Shaded part area is 39 centimeters square. Right, so it will be something like this. Oh, big square, small square. Yeah, that's what you see over here. Okay, I can put like this, right? Okay, so what does that mean? So if we put in the values, we will have 39 is equal to big square area, right? And then we minus the small square area, 25. So that means if we were to add this up, so big square area is actually a combination of the shaded area, 39 plus 25. Okay, so and this will give us not 29, 39. 39 plus 25, this will give us 64 centimeters square. All right, so we want to know what is the length of one side. So we know what do you call this? Side times side is equal to 64 centimeter square. So what do you think is one side? Okay, so the side, so the same number is equal to 64. Do you know which one? Is 8 times 8, Yeah. Okay, so 8 times 8 is 64. So that's why one side is 8 centimeter. So in this case, 8 times 8 is equal to 64. That means one side is 8 in this case over here. All right, so bit of a tougher question, but the answer is 8 for this case over here. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Question 22. Right, the ratio of the number of blue pens to the number of green pens is 8 is to 3. There are 48 blue pens. Find the total number of pens. Okay, so we know in this case number of blue is 8 units and number of green is 3 units. So we also know that blue is 48. So that means 8 units is equal to 48 pens, right? So 1 unit is equal to 48, right, divided by 8. This will give you 6. Alright, and then lastly, what's the total units? Total units is equal to 8 plus 3 is equal to 11 units. That means 11 units because we want to get the total number. That's why you get the total units. 11 units is equal to 11 times 6, which is 66 pence in this case over here. Therefore, the answer to this is 66 pence. Okay, or just 66. All right, let's move on to question number 23. So we see over here that the solid is made up of 11 cubes over here. So essentially it's just 12 minus 1 cube over here. Okay, so draw the front view and the top view of the solid on the grids below. So the front view is basically, if I were to use this, right, we have 1, 2, okay, so 1, 2, 3, and we have 4 as well, okay, because the front view. Same thing is 5, right, and then we have 6, oops, then we have 7, and lastly we have number 8, as what you see over here. So that means it's just, 8 cubes facing to the front. That's about it. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, right, on this. Okay, so it will just be a normal, like this, square, but this time it's just 4. Oh yeah, it needs to be together like this. Okay, so 1, 2, right, 3, 4. Okay, and then we can duplicate this as we see over here. So the front view will look something like this. All right, what about the top view? Okay, so the top view itself, let me use a different color, red. So you have let me actually use text lah, right? So you have 1, then you have 2, right? Then you have 3, then you have 4. Okay, and you also have 5, right? Lastly, do you have 6? Yes, we do. We have 6 here as well. Okay, so in this case, it will look something like this. All right, so it will be an L shape, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and then 1, 2, 3. So something like this. So let me also grab this, copy, and paste it over here. Okay, and then same thing. Actually, I can just duplicate this 4 over here. All right, so like this. And then after that, we have 3, right, over here as well. So I'm gonna get 2, paste it over here, and oops, and just move them around like this, and also in this case over here like this. Therefore, this is the answer. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 24. Mingxuan studied from 10:50 a.m. to 1:35 p.m. How much time did Mingxuan spend studying? Give your answers in hours and minutes. Okay, so we know from 10:50 a.m. to, so let's make it simple, 11 a.m. is equal to 10 minutes, right? So 10:50 to 11 is just 10 minutes. Then 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. is equal to 1 hour. Okay, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. is equal to 1 hour, and 1 p.m. to 1:35 p.m. is equal to 35 minutes. Okay, so let's combine this together. So 10 minutes plus 1 hour plus 1 hour plus 35 minutes. Okay, what would this give us? This will give us 2 hours, and 10 plus 35, 45 minutes. So I see over here. So therefore, in this case, this will be 2 hours and also 45 minutes. Okay, so you just break down on an hourly, I would say, hourly thing with some parts, you should get this answer. Okay, let's move on to question number 25. So question number 25 here says find the figure, find y over here. Okay, so one thing I think they missed out is there's actually a right angle over here. It looks very right angle, but most of the time um, they should have a rectangle over here to indicate that this is a right angle. So for me, this is a right angle. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is, so for angle, right, angle y is basically, so the whole thing, right, the whole circle is 360. So right, 360 minus 57 minus 99 and minus 90 in this case over here. All right, so let's in a way add 57 and 99, so it's actually just 100. Okay, so 360, right, minus, this should be 156 minus 90, right, and then, right, in this case we will just add 156 with 90, so 360 again minus 156 and 90 is 246. Therefore the final answer to this is 246 is 1, so 60 minus 46 is 14. That's it. So that's the answer for uh, angle y, right? Okay, so the answer to this is 114. Do this. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 26. Right, question number 26 says a shop baked 120 tarts. Quarter of them are fruit tarts. After some fruit tarts were sold, there were 38 fruit tarts left. How many fruit tarts were sold? Okay, so we just want to do is how many fruit tarts are there? Right, fruit tarts is equal to 120 times, and then we have 3 quarter. Okay, so in this case, what do you think the answer is? Okay, so in this case, we can cancel out 4. We can cancel out 12 to become, or yeah, cancel 120 lah. Let's make it like that. Okay, this will be 30. So 120 divided by 4 is 30. And therefore, this will be equal to 30 times 3, 90. We have 19 fruits. Okay, so we have 90 fruit tarts. Then the next part is there were fruit tarts left. So left will be 38, right? So how much is sold is equal to 90 minus 38. This will give us 62. So 62 fruit tarts were sold in this case over here. All right. Oh, sorry, not 62, it's 52. Okay, my bad. So 52 over here. All right. Okay, so always double check your work. Let's move on to question 27. Okay, question 27 says the table below shows the number of pads each student had in a group. Part of the table is covered by ink blot. There are 40 students who had at least 2 pads. Right. Each of the statement below is either true, false, or not possible to tell from the information given. For each statement, put a stick to indicate your answer. Okay, so in this case over here, so it says here there were 50 students with at least 1 pad. So that means in this case, 50 students has 1 or more pad. Okay, so is this correct? Yes, it's true because we have 40 students who had at least 2 pets. So 40 plus 10 over here, and this will give us 50. So in this case, this is true. Okay, next one, right? So in this case, it says here there were 77 students. So we know that at least 40 students had 2 pets. So in a way, it's just 40 plus 10 plus 15. So I would say total students is equal to 40 plus 10 plus 15, and this will give us 65. Sadly, this is false, right? Okay, and then last one, the number of students with 3 pets was equal to the number of students with 4 pets. So technically, it's not possible to tell because even we have uh, students with at least 3 pets is equal to 40 minus 12, and this will give us 28. So it is possible that this can be, for example, 14 or 14, but this also can be 15 or 13. Okay, so it doesn't say 3 is equal to 4. So in this way, there's really much that no space I can explain, but in this case, but let me just draw a line. Okay, so students with at least 3 pets is 28, right? And then I'll say possible numbers of 3 pets versus 4 pets owners can be either 14 or 14, right? Or can be, wait, 15 and 13, right? So that means this one not possible to tell. Okay, so let's move on to question 28. All right, question number 28. So Jasper wrote a number on the strip. Okay, you have a bunch of numbers over here. So he cut the strip of paper twice and obtained 3 different numbers. He then added the 3 different numbers. What was the smallest possible sum he could get from the different numbers? Okay, first thing first, we need to count how many numbers are there. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? So in essence, we have total numbers is 10. Okay, so to get the smallest number, sum of 3 numbers, we need to have like 3-digit number, right? Plus 3-digit number plus 4-digit number. Okay, anything more than this, it will be very, very high because 3-digit, 3-digit, and 4-digit. Okay, so and at the same time, he cut the paper twice. So, for example, he cut over here. So, this is an example, not a correct answer. And he cut over here. So, that means you have the number 36, 918, and then 47,000. Okay, so you can see that we should cut into 3 digits over here. Okay, so which number or which should we cut? So let's take the first 3 and then let's take the next 3. So is this a good number to have? So I'll just write here possible numbers is equal to, so in this case, let me zoom out a bit, right? Make this bigger. So this is 369 plus 184 plus 7,652. Okay, okay, let's try another one. So let's try this one. So instead we move the 7 to 6 over here. Okay, so possible numbers it is, or 369, this one, okay, or equal to same thing, 369, but this time it will look something like this. So 1847 plus 652, or this. Okay, so last one will be somewhere here. We have 3 numbers. So 3691. Okay, 3691 plus 847 plus 652. Okay, so in essence, right, we just want to find the smallest for the find the smallest for 4-digit number. Okay, in this case over here. So what we found is that the smallest 4-digit number in these three combinations is equal to 1847. So that means this is the answer. So that means smallest. Okay, let me put this on top over here. So put this over here. So smallest possible sum, okay, is equal to 369. Let me put the rectangle. 369, 1847, and 652. Okay, so this one, right? Okay, so what will be the answer to this? So let's add them up. 369, let's add 2 up for 652. Okay, so it's a bit safer. So 369 and 652. So 9 plus 2, this will become 11. So we're going to put 1 over here. So 6 plus 5 is 11 as well, but plus 1, this will be 2. And then we're going to put 1 over here. So 3 plus 6 is equal to 9 plus 1, it will be 10. 1, 0, 2, 1. Okay, so this will be 1847 plus 1021. Okay, so I think we can add all of this up. Okay, and this will become, so 2868. And there you go, that's the answer, 2868. Right, so in this case, the answer is this, 2868. 184, yes, 268. Right. Okay, let's move on to question 29. Okay, question 29. In the figure, QRST is a trapezium. QR is parallel to TS. So QR over here is parallel. So parallel to TS. Oops. TS. Okay. And then TRS is equal to 46 degrees. So find QRT. Okay. So in this case also, what I will say is, here they also never put the right angle in this case over here. Okay, so TRS is also a right angle. Right angle. Okay, so we also know that this whole thing, right, or these two sides over here, this and this is equal to 180 degrees. So if I were to write this down, angle, right? So let me make this bigger. Angle Q. So angle TSR RST is equal to 90 degrees, right? Okay, so 90 degrees. And then angle QRS is also QRS is also 90 degrees because 180 minus 90, okay, is equal to 90 degrees. All right, so that means for angle QRT is equal to 90 and then we minus 46. This will give us 44. And that's the answer, right? So the answer to this is 44 degrees in this case over here, right? Yes. All right, let's move on to question 30. Right, last question for paper 1. So square WXYZ is divided into 7 identical small squares and 3 triangles. That's what you see over here. The area of each small square is 16 centimeters. So one square here is 16 centimeter and then square. Okay. So what is the total area of the shaded triangle? Okay. So we know that one square is 16 centimeters square. right? So area of square is 16 centimeters square, right? And the thing is that we also know that area of square is also side times side. So what times what equal to 16? So since 4 times 4 is equal to 16, that means side of square is 4 centimeters, which in this case, I'm just going to put, an arrow over here. So in this case, this will be 4 centimeters. Okay, right, 4 centimeters. And that means this 16 centimeter square, I'll just put here, right? This will also be, in this case, 4 centimeters, right? So this is 4 centimeters as well. I don't know why there's an extra space below, but yeah. Okay, so with that said, now we can calculate the total area of the, uh, what is this called? This square over here. So since we know it's 4 centimeters, that means this is 4 centimeters. Let's make it smaller a bit, something like this. Okay, so this is 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 4 centimeters. Okay, duplicate, gonna put it beside here. Same goes to this, right? So this is also 4 centimeters, right? And then same goes to the rest of this as well, in this case, right? So that means we have a square, right? The inner square over here, or I would say the big square. Big square area is equal to, or big square side is equal to 4 times 3 is equal to 12 centimeters. So big square area is equal to 12 times 12, and this will be equal to 144 centimeter square, right? So we know that this whole big area is 144 centimeter square. So another thing that you need to know is that what is the total area of the shaded triangles? Okay, so in this case, we will just get the unshaded triangle, and we know that the height is this as well. Okay, so the height, okay, let me put a small little right angle over here. So that means we know that this height is, okay, or this one is 12 centimeters, right? So this is 12 centimeters. And we also know that this whole area is also 12 centimeters. So let me just put it like this. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna put it like this. So we also know that this whole thing is also 12 centimeters. That's what I see over here. So area of unshaded triangle is equal to, in this case, half times base times height. And since the base and height is the same, it's half times 12 times 12, right? And what would this give us? So half times 12 is 6 times 12. Let's go to 72, right? So now with this, we have the unshaded. Then the last part is, let me put a line here. Okay. Area of shaded triangle. Area of triangle over here. Let's make it medium. Of shaded triangle is equal to, in this case, we just minus the big square area minus area of unshaded triangle, right? In this case over here, let's make this small, which is equal to 144 minus 72, and this is actually 72 centimeters square as well. And that's it. That's the answer. So if you guessed it right, anything that is the opposite, anything that is not the triangle is also half. Yeah. So in a way, you don't have to add this. You can just say area of function is just half times space times height. That's all. It works. Okay, but either way, the answer to this is 72 centimeter square. And that's it.